Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Church of Los Alamos. I am Mimi, and I use the pronouns she, they, or Supreme Commander. And I am today's worship associate. Whoever you are, whomever you love, whatever your image of the holy, wherever you are on your life's journey, you are welcome here. If this is your first time with us, we'd love to get to know you. Please sign our guest sign-in book in the foyer back there. For kids here in our service today, we have our activity table up front. Kids can also stay seated with their grown-ups. And please remember to use whisper voices while talking. If you would like to know more about our programs for youth and kids, please speak to Elizabeth Portillos. She just walked out. Our Lifespan Spiritual Enrichment staff. We also have a nursery down the hall for the younger kiddos, and Sarah Hamoud is out there. Our nursery coordinator can check in your younger kiddo. We have our candles of community up here and back there. You are encouraged to come up before the prayer or meditation time to light a candle and or write your joy or sorrow in the book and be read aloud. If you are in need of pastoral care and support or a chat over coffee or even financial assistance, please contact Reverend Tina DeYoe to set up an appointment. I put out some props and implements if people feel moved to want to dance or whatever, like during the music. They're right here. Come up, grab one, dance around. You can take it back to your seat with you, whatever you want.
And now I will call us into worship today as we gather together. Oh, I'm also the Reverend Tina DeYoe, and I use she, her pronouns, and I'm a minister here. There you go. And I'm also wearing my rainbow sunglasses, which I don't normally wear sunglasses in church, but it's Rainbow Sunday, so yeah. So we come together as a community every Sunday to pause and worship together. Worship creates connections within, among, and beyond us, calling us to live with wisdom and compassion, calling us to be our better selves. Our worship theme for the month of June is Flourishing Together. So today is the first Sunday in June, and we are beginning our LGBTQ Pride Month celebrations. So yay! We will flourish that way this month together. So today we will celebrate our amazing diversity through rainbow chasing. We will explore some of the symbolism of rainbows and the science behind how rainbows actually work. So did you know that rainbows are light, appearing in diverse and different forms? Maybe, yes, no? So today we celebrate the beauty that rainbows bring into our lives. And Mimi will now read our chalice lighting words, and William is gonna come up and light our chalice, our flaming chalice.
As we light this chalice, may its flame remind us of the shining sun that joins the life-giving rain to sustain life and create the ordinary, magical, logical, mysterious, everyday miracle that we call rainbows.
So I'm really joy-filled and grateful that Alex Mills is also joining this talk today, titled Chasing Rainbows. So why are we here together this Sunday chasing rainbows? Well, because rainbows are symbols of hope and resiliency. Rainbows are science. Rainbows are an empowering symbol for the LGBTQ plus community, and it's Pride Month. Woo! And rainbows are also beautiful and found in nature. And well, we are chasing rainbows today because your minister really loves rainbows. And also the worship team, we came up with this topic together, so it's a fun topic. So let's go, y'all ready? On a rainbow adventure together today. Woo! Okay, so my chasing rainbows story, and you can talk about your stories after the service, we can hear each other's stories, but my chasing rainbow story started when I was a young kiddo, and I loved coloring contests. How many of you entered into coloring contests before? Yeah? Yeah, right? I loved coloring contests. And one of the coloring contests I entered, I won. And it was super exciting. And I won the best prize ever. A crayon carousel. What? Oh my gosh, I loved this crayon carousel. It displayed all the colors in a way that I thought as a kid was one of the most beautiful displays of colors you could ever see. I was literally awestruck by all the colors on the carousel. I still wish I had that carousel, but I don't. As a kid in second grade, I also chased rainbows to the off-Broadway production of Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat and saw it with my grandma and got to see Donny Osmond as Joseph. How many of you saw Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat? Yeah, or the video. It's on video now too, which is the Joseph story from the Old Testament, right? So that was also me chasing rainbows. And just for people who know the music, Joseph's coat was red and yellow and green and brown and scarlet and black and ochre and peach and ruby and olive and violet and fawn and lilac and gold and chocolate and mauve and cream and crimson and silver and rose and azure and lemon and russet and gray and purple and white and pink and orange and blue. Woo! Yes. Memorized all that as a kid as well. So I kept chasing rainbows into my adulthood, and my first ever tattoo was of a rainbow and a dove on my foot, which I got while serving as a hospital chaplain intern. And this tattoo, at that point in my life, represented my theology at the time, that there was always hope after the storm. I chased rainbows on my first solo cross-country road trip out west and was awestruck by how many rainbows I saw on the drive between Grand Junction, Colorado and Durango, Colorado. There was literally 3 or 4 rainbows that I saw on that trip. And I still chase rainbows today. The rainbow flags in the first UU church I ever walked in Knoxville, Tennessee, made me feel at home. And then after my divorce, I created an online dating profile that described myself as a rainbow chaser. And guess what? Eric, over there, the drummer, was the guy to respond to my rainbow chaser description by asking me if I had caught any of those rainbows lately. Then he would send me pictures of rainbows he saw in nature. So Eric and I still chase rainbows together right now, so that's really fun. So are any of you chasing rainbows in your life? And I'll ask you the same question that Eric asked me. Have you caught any of those rainbows lately? Living in Los Alamos, I've seen some of the most, and probably y'all too, vibrant rainbows ever. And some of those most vibrant rainbows, vibrant double rainbows, as you can see here. That's at the high school, right? So that's a double rainbow. That was one over Pueblo Canyon, right? That was by the hospital, I think. I can't remember. That one is one of our Pride murals that we painted with our handprints. We're gonna do that again on Wednesday, so join us. And then one over our church, you can see it. Woo! So yes, so living here, I've seen some of the most vibrant rainbows. Raise your hand if you've seen these amazing, beautiful, vibrant rainbows too, yes. So rainbows are indeed, to me anyway, magical. There's a quality about rainbows that excites wonder and awe, and rainbows inspire curiosity and questioning. Rainbows are beautiful, and rainbows are indeed science. So, Alex is here today to share with us an introduction to the science of rainbows. So let's chase some of the science of rainbows now together.
All right, so today I'm going to tell you about the physics of rainbows, or rainbows. How do they work? So I wanted to start off with the word rainbow. So it's a compound word. It's got rain, that's obvious. And then it also has the word bow, which, not that kind of bow, this kind of bow, which describes its shape. But arguably, the most important feature of the rainbow isn't actually in its name. What we think of when we think of the rainbow is its colors. So, we don't say the term color spectrum, visible spectrum, or anything like that. When we see something that has all of these colors, we call it rainbow colored. So, how do we get rainbows? Well, first we got to start with the rain, and in particular, raindrops. Now, there's a common misconception that raindrops are teardrop shaped, which they're not. Raindrops are spheres. And it's not how I'm going to present it today, but actually, if you start with the shape and color of the rainbow, those prove that raindrops have to be spheres. But we'll go at it from the other direction. So, what do you need to make a rainbow? Well, first, as mentioned, you need rain, you need sunlight. Technically, any bright light could potentially do it, but for natural rainbows, you're gonna want the sun. And then you need a person, you, or for the purposes of what I'm saying today, it's gonna be me. All right, so let's get into the science part of it. So rainbows work off of refraction, reflection, and then that's not gonna quite get us there, so we need to go back to refraction. So let's start with reflection, because it's really easy. You've got light, it comes towards some sort of surface, and then it bounces off. That's all we need to know. Going on to refraction. Basically, you've got two materials. For rain, it's going to be air and water. And then you've got light that comes in, it hits the surface, passes through, and gets bent. And that's all you need to know for refraction, almost. So let's take a look at a raindrop to see how that, well, okay, first, I want to tell you that refraction goes both ways. So light can be exiting water, and it'll still get bent. So let's go look at a raindrop and see how all this works. So you've got light from the sun, it strikes the raindrop, and it's important it strikes the raindrop in a particular location that makes this work. Then it gets bent as it goes into the raindrop, then it reflects off the back of the raindrop, and it refracts again as it exits. Now these are the basics, but it's not quite everything to get you your rainbow. Because as I've described, if that was it, rainbows would be white, and they're clearly not, missing their most important feature. So we got to dig a little bit deeper into the science to get our multicolored rainbow. So let's revisit refraction just a little bit. We scientists, or physicists in particular, like to use the index of refraction, which we've named n. Physicists use n for a lot of things, but it's just the index of refraction today. So each material has its own index of refraction. Now they might be close to each other, but I'm not going to use any numbers today. So we've got air and water. The assumption I made earlier, where we got a white rainbow, was that the index of refraction for water is the same for all frequencies, or all wavelengths, as I'll be using today, which is not true. So we get our only really physicsy thing in this talk, a graph. So on the vertical axis, we have the index of refraction, what we're interested in. And then on the horizontal axis, we have the wavelength. Now, not everyone's really familiar with the wavelength, so let's put that color bar up there. So the important thing here is that if you look at the blue side of the spectrum, the index of refraction is higher. And then as you go through all the colors, it gets lower and lower until you get over to red. So what does that mean exactly? So let's go look back at our raindrop. A higher index of refraction means that the light gets bent just a little bit more. So the blue light had the highest one, so it gets bent a little bit more when it goes into the raindrop. For our purposes, the reflection is the same here. And then it gets bent a little bit more again as it leaves the raindrop, as opposed to red, which had the lowest index of refraction in water, where it gets bent less, reflection is the same, and then again, it gets bent less as it leaves. Now, these two beams are diverging, which means that you cannot see both of these colors from the same raindrop. So let's cook up a schematic to show what I mean. So these two beams of light need to hit your eye, or my eye in this case. So you've got to have your sunlight come in, hit the rain, and then the red one bent less. So that means it has to be higher up in the sky in order to reach your eye as compared to the blue light, which bent more. So it needs to be lowered down to hit your eye. So let's look at an actual picture of a rainbow to show this. So again, red is up high, blue is down. So here you can see, at least for the really bright rainbow here, red is on the top and blue is on the bottom. So prediction was successful. Now, this picture has two rainbows in it. The bright one I'm going to call the primary rainbow, and the other one I'm going to call the double rainbow. So let's learn quickly about double rainbows. First, I need to tell you something that I kind of omitted a little bit. Rainbows, what I've told you is rainbows reflect sunlight. Now the sun is very bright. Don't look at the sun. But it's reflected in this raindrop back to your eye. And I mean, rainbows are bright, but they're not sun bright. So what's going on here is that when this reflection happens, not very much of the light is actually reflected. Most of it actually escapes out the back of the raindrop. Only some light is reflected into your eye. So what's the difference between what I'm calling the primary rainbow and the double rainbow? Well, for the primary rainbow, it reflects once, and for the double rainbow, it reflects twice. So because it's reflecting twice, a lot of the light escapes twice, which is why double rainbows are always much dimmer than your primary rainbow. Now let's look at our color scheme for this. So our red light is bent just a little bit less when it goes to the rainbow drop. It reflects twice, and it's bent a little less when it comes out as compared to the blue light, where it's bent more, reflects twice, is bent more again. But let's compare this is the double rainbow, compare it to the primary rainbow. So for the primary rainbow, the red light came out on the bottom and the blue light came out on the top. But for the double rainbow, the red light comes out on top and the blue light's on the bottom. So to drive that point home, let's look at a schematic again. Blue light up top, red light on the bottom. So let's go look back at our picture of the double rainbow to see how that works. And you can see for the double rainbow, the blue light's up top, the red light's on the bottom. So whenever you see, the next time you see the double rainbow, maybe take a picture first, bask in the beauty of the rainbow, then you can go back and look at your picture and see that the two color spectra are inverted between the two rainbows. All right, that's all I have for you today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alex. That was awesome. Yeah, I never knew double rainbows reflected back that way, so that's cool. So this month we're gonna keep chasing rainbows as we celebrate Pride, and we will chase rainbows toward inclusion and equity. So as you heard in our Time for All Ages today, the rainbow flag became a symbol for LGBTQ plus Pride in 1978. And here is an image of the first, that's Gilbert Baker, who created the rainbow flag, right? So that's Gilbert Baker. And then this is the first rainbow flag. So that rainbow flag was designed by Gilbert baker, an openly gay man, and a drag queen. So friends Artie Bresson and Harvey Milk, the first openly gay elected officials in California, had asked him, Gilbert, to create a symbol of pride for the gay community. So that's the first rainbow flag that they came up with. You can see that there's pink and turquoise in that flag, which is kind of awesome. And each stripe in this flag had a meaning. So you can see that hot pink was sexuality, red was life, orange was healing, yellow is sunlight, green, nature, turquoise, magic and art, indigo, serenity and harmony, and violet is spirit. So after we heard that Harvey Milk was assassinated in November 1978, after he was assassinated, the demand for the rainbow flag hugely increased. And the Paramount Flag Company, whom Baker worked for, began selling a version using stock rainbow fabric with 7 stripes. Red, orange, yellow, green, turquoise, blue, no, not turquoise there. But he cut the pink stripe because the fabric in that color was in short supply at the time. So the flag did have turquoise still. But then in 1979, he dropped the turquoise stripe, combining it with indigo to create royal blue. And then in 2017, another iteration of the pride flag came about from the city of Philadelphia, which added 2 stripes to the 6-stripe design to highlight the struggles of queer people of color. The new black and brown stripes were placed at the top of the flag. And then after the popularity of the Philadelphia version, designer Daniel Quasar created the Progress Pride flag in 2018 that incorporated the transgender flag colors as well as the new brown and black colors, with brown representing people of color and black highlighting those affected by HIV and AIDS. And then more recently in 2021, Valentino Vincent, the founder of Intersex Equality Rights in the UK, added the purple circle on a yellow background to incorporate the voices of intersex people, which are some people born with sex characteristics that are not exclusively associated with a singular binary definition of male or female. And we're going to hear more about that in our forum next week, so come back and we'll hear more about that. So all of these versions of the pride flags are beautiful. So pick which one you like and display it with pride and joy. So, as many of you might know, I am an optimist, and I always try to look on the bright side of life. Chasing rainbows sometimes is an idiom that can mean to pursue unlikely and impossible goals. However, I don't understand the phrase chasing rainbows in this way at all. My understanding of chasing rainbows means to always be chasing the diverse and beautiful light that comes to us in many forms when we remain open to all of life's different waves, right? The ups, the downs, the bows, the bends, the circles, all of it. So it is hopeful to know that rainbows exist, even if we cannot see them every day. That is the hope in rainbows, that beauty and good exist, even if you can't always see it. To me, this message of rainbows goes deep, and we can remain hopeful, even in those times where all we can see is the rain, because we know there is light on the other side of that rain. So chasing rainbows to me means chasing the light, chasing what is good, what is beautiful, magical, and those diverse experiences that help us flourish together as community. So I encourage you all to chase those rainbows in your life in whatever form you choose. You could chase the science of rainbows or the symbol of inclusion and diversity that rainbows represent, or you could chase rainbows purely for the beauty that they reflect. You could chase the rainbows in nature or the rainbows made from prisms. Rainbows are indeed a natural wonder of the world, and what they mean to us will continue to evolve and grow over time. To that end, I would like to end with some advice from a rainbow. Live a colorful life. Bring unexpected joy. See beauty in life's curves. Live in the moment and reflect your true nature. And after the service at coffee hour, feel free to look at the fun rainbow activities at your table and Pride books too, and get a little rainbow from me here. I have a little bowl, so you can take a little rainbow with you so you can always chase some rainbows. So let us now rise in body and or spirit to sing our closing song, The Rainbow Connection.